We gotta admit, The Crown definitely taught us a lot about the history of the royal family. Season 5 of The Crown was eventful, to say the least. It had us hooked all the way. In this video, we'll be talking about the fire at Windsor Castle, how accurate it was, and what happened afterwards to the castle. Let's dive right in and see for ourselves what went down. First off, the true story behind the Windsor Castle fire. Annus Horribilis was the name of the episode in which the castle caught fire. We saw a fire break out in Windsor Castle on the 20th of November 1992. The fire began at 11:15 a.m. when a spotlight caused a curtain in the Queen's private chapel to ignite. Doesn't that sound like the strangest thing to ever happen? We then saw the fire spread throughout the castle quickly. It went on to damage 115 rooms, which included 9 staterooms too. When we think about it, 115 rooms is way too many rooms in a single house. We can only imagine what it would have been like being in the castle at that exact moment. The castle even had its own 21-man fire brigade, armed with a pump tender and a single Land Rover. But they realized quickly enough that they'd need more equipment and manpower because what they had on hand wasn't going to be enough at all. The castle's brigade called the Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service, who arrived by 11:44 a.m. Up next, how accurate the Crown is. What the Crown doesn't show is that, interestingly, Prince Andrew was the only member of the royal family on site when the fire broke out. He definitely played a big role in trying to save furniture and unique ancient artworks from the rooms where the fire was headed, artworks which are worth millions. You've also got to credit Prince Andrew for not escaping the scene and saving his life. While Prince Andrew and the other firemen were on their mission of trying to save as much as possible, more reinforcements kept arriving. By 12:20 p.m., there were over 35 fire engines present at Windsor Castle, and the fire had spread to the Brunswick Tower and St. George's Hall, which, as we all know, is the largest of all the state apartments. By 7 p.m., the roof of St. George's Hall collapsed due to damage from the fire, followed by what happened to Windsor Castle after the 1992 fire. Even after the fire had been diminished, an on-duty staff of 60 firemen with 8 appliances remained at the scene for a week afterward to ensure that additional outbreaks didn't start in any of the cavities in the roof. As we saw, the Windsor Castle suffered immense damage and was absolutely shattered. Still, it was fully repaired by 1997. The royal family had to dig deep to arrange the funds for the restoration of the site. You wouldn't imagine one would save up some funds in case a fire breaks out in their house. The royal family didn't expect that either. The repairs ultimately cost £36.5 million, with Queen Elizabeth contributing £2 million of her own money, and she even started paying income tax from 1993 onwards. She was the first monarch to pay income tax since the 1930s. We guess that was her way of showing to the people that their money wasn't the only money being used for the restoration. The rest of the money required for repairs was raised via private donations and charging the public entry into Buckingham Palace. The fire gave tourists a big reason to tour the Windsor Castle. Eventually, it became a major tourist attraction, with as many as 1 million people visiting it in a year. Also, if you guys think no one lives there, you're wrong. It's actually an operating royal household. Some royal family members live there. Moving on to what Windsor Castle is used for now. After the death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022, the Windsor Castle is now owned by King Charles III. You guys might not know, but Windsor Castle is the largest inhabited castle in the world. It currently remains both a tourist attraction and a residence for the royal family. Windsor Castle is also used for hosting state visits to the United Kingdom. The Crown Season 5 accurately depicted the devastating 1992 fire at Windsor Castle as one of the worst disasters of the Annus Horribilis. Now let's look at what happened to Kelly Fisher, Dodi Fayed's ex-fiancée. As we saw, The Crown Season 5 mainly deals with Prince Charles and Princess Diana's messy divorce. This incident set everything up smoothly for us to see in Season 6 the story of Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed, all of which ended with the couple's death in a car accident in August of 1997. Early in Season 5, an entire episode is dedicated to Dodi's father, billionaire and socialite Mohammed Al Fayed, and we got to see Dodi and Diana meeting for the first time. We could say it was somewhat of an Easter egg for us fans. In episode 10, we got a surprise that The Crown introduced Dodi's ex-fiancée, Kelly Fisher, who sued him for breaking off their engagement for Diana. Kelly Fisher is introduced in The Crown Season 5's finale. But she won't actually marry Dodi Fayed. Kelly now became a part of the love triangle, which is set up in the conclusion of the season. Dodi's father, Mohammed Al Fayed, invited his friend Princess Diana and her sons to vacation on his yacht in Saint-Tropez in the summer of 1997. This sets off a tragic chain of events that eventually leads to the deaths of Dodi and Diana on August 31, 1997. Not to mention the background between Kelly Fisher and Dodi Fayed. If you guys didn't know, Kelly Fisher is an American model from Kentucky who became romantically involved with Dodi Fayed in 1996. They met in Paris during the summer, and by November of that year, Dodi and Kelly got engaged, as per some reports. Pretty fast, right? Together, they purchased a mansion in Malibu, California. In the show, we saw Dodi hoping to get his father's approval for two things: marrying Kelly and to pay for their dream home. Things went along a little differently in Crown Season 5 and in real life. The show depicted Dodi and Kelly's engagement happening in the summer of 1997, before Dodi and Diana met on his father's yacht in Saint-Tropez. Whereas in real life, it is said that their wedding was meant to take place on August 9, 1997. During the preparations of the wedding, she returned to Los Angeles, while Dodi went to Saint-Tropez, where he met the Princess of Wales. That's where all the drama started to unfold. Would it be biased for us to say that's some blatant cheating? Let's learn more about what happened to Kelly Fisher in the aftermath of Dodi and Diana. Once the news was out about Dodi and Diana, Kelly Fisher claimed that Dodi Fayed dumped her via phone call soon after he got involved with Princess Diana in the summer of 1997. Coincidentally, it was on the same day their relationship was reported by the press. She accused Dodi of two-timing her and Diana at the same time in an interview. Did Fisher think she and Diana were on the same side? Kelly retained a known attorney, Gloria Allred, as her legal counsel, and she was adamant on the fact that she was going to sue Dodi Fayed for ending their relationship in 1997. Fisher dropped the lawsuit following the unfortunate deaths of Dodi and Diana. Coming up, did Dodi's father hatch a plan? The Crown Season 5 indicates that Mohammed Al Fayed, Dodi's father, disapproved of Kelly Fisher. He didn't want his son marrying a model, even though he himself married a Finnish model and a socialite, Heini Wathin. Now here's an interesting conspiracy. Mohammed is believed to have maneuvered Diana into meeting Dodi in Saint-Tropez. This happening meant that it fulfilled Mohammed's hopes that Dodi could eventually marry into the royal family. Talk about playing a long shot and being somewhat successful at it. Despite Diana's divorce from Prince Charles and her estrangement from the House of Windsor, Dodi could have been a stepfather to a future king, Prince William. Who knows? He could have fathered his own children with Diana had they married. Kelly Fisher didn't factor into Mohammed Al Fayed's plans, as portrayed in The Crown. Finally, where is Kelly Fisher today? Kelly Fisher is now known as Kelly Movshina. She married Mikhail Movshina, a Russian pilot. They met in 2007 while Kelly was out adventuring in the Central African Republic. Together, they lived in Paris and the French Alps before settling in Aiken, South Carolina. Kelly gave birth to a daughter in 2011, Alexandra Grace. She now works as a property developer and is no longer a public figure. Well, after all that drama, one might want to back off a little. She doesn't talk about her relationship with Dodi Fayed after she sold her story for £200,000 to Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation. We could say she might not have the rights anymore to her own story. From her perspective, why not make money off of something that's already happened in the past? During the inquiry into Diana's death, a recording of her heated phone call with Dodi was played and is on record. This is where Fisher accused Dodi Fayed of two-timing her and Diana. We hope Kelly Fisher does reappear in The Crown Season 6 to play her part in the events following Princess Diana and Dodi's deaths. And on that note, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the Windsor Castle fire story? And what are your opinions on Kelly Fisher through all of that fiasco? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.